Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Hope you're enjoying my conversation with Robert Hendricks, U.S. spokesperson with the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. If you're just tuning in, we talked about why the convention is virtual this year. We also talked about what we can expect to watch during this convention. And now we're going to touch on the humanitarian efforts that Jehovah's Witnesses are involved in. Robert, thank you so much for staying with me. I really appreciate your time. I know that you're a very busy person doing your media blitz for the organization, so I really appreciate your time.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having us, Paul. We appreciate it.
All right, Robert, humanitarian efforts. Maybe ones are not familiar with some of the work that Jehovah has Witnesses has done when it comes to humanitarian efforts. And Robert, what are some of the things that Jehovah's Witnesses are doing for the communities out there?
Well, frankly, Paul, we never expected to be doing what we've done over the last 15 months. Nobody could plan for this, but the decisions that were made early on, in fact, March 2020, we made a decision as an organization to have 16 disaster relief committees cover the entire United States branch territory. And that was a decision that was, it seems obvious now, but most of our branch territory did not even have a COVID-19 case. But as a result of that decision, we've seen great blessings, not only to our brothers and sisters, but also to our communities and to their families, their non-witness families as well. It was just a few weeks after that decision to set up these committees that the pandemic began to escalate nationwide. And we all of a sudden, as an organization, began seeing needs, pockets of needs, no doubt, but needs within the branch territory. In fact, even some needs related to food and keeping our brothers and sisters and their families and our congregants and meeting attenders, keeping them satiated, satisfied with the needs. And so it wasn't simply a matter of deprivation. For some it was. They lost their jobs. They needed provisions. But it also was a matter of older ones not wanting to leave their homes or shouldn't be leaving their homes to go to the supermarket. And so all of a sudden in April and May, after we made this decision, we have this apparatus around the branch territory to begin delivering food to hundreds of thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses, our congregants, our meeting attenders, and family members around the branch territory. And we didn't do it like many other organizations. We didn't set up boxes in the middle of an empty parking lot because we thought that was not a safe way to do it. That would have been an easier way to do it. We actually made personal deliveries, and there was no interaction. We put boxes on porches, at doors for our brothers and sisters, and we did so in a safe manner. And even though we delivered millions of boxes of food through the course of 8 or 9 months, there was never one case of transmission of COVID-19. And there was never one case where the food caused some level of hurt either, or transmission of some disease, because we followed very strict protocols. That's one example of the blessing of having these volunteers in place who, on a full-time basis, were working for the needs of the brothers and sisters in the field. We also, through that arrangement, we provided remote medical care. Through the arrangement of our hospital liaison committees, we directed our brothers and sisters who needed hospital care to empty beds, because in the Los Angeles area and in other key areas, Detroit, New York, New Jersey, South Florida, South Texas, New Mexico, we were seeing over 100% occupancy in our hospitals. And so we were directing them to the proper place. We also gave them excellent protocols. On a regular basis, the disaster relief committees would communicate to local congregations on how to keep themselves safe. We also directed other potential resources to them through that mechanism. So our humanitarian efforts over the last 15 months have been varied. We never would have expected to be in this work, but it's biblical, it's scriptural. Paul talked about it as a relief ministration or a relief ministry. And that's what we've been involved with in the last 15 months, a humanitarian relief ministry. And so we're winding that down now. And our brothers and sisters who have worked with the disaster relief or humanitarian relief committees are now being redeployed back to what they typically did, which was handle local Kingdom Hall construction, Assembly Hall construction, and also rebuilding in places like South Texas and in the Bahamas and other areas, and Puerto Rico, where we've had significant disasters that some of the building was put on hold because of COVID-19. So it has been quite a 15 months, and it's built our faith in our ability to help each other and to come together in a crisis. It's been a profound moment in the history of our organization.
Thank you for sharing that, Robert. And I understand that even the humanitarian efforts just didn't start during COVID-19, that back in the different hurricanes that we had over the years, even going back to some of the major Florida hurricanes that they had like in the 90s, that Jehovah's Witnesses was there to do humanitarian work. And I think that's awesome. Not many of us know about that. Thank you for sharing that, Robert. We really appreciate that.
Oh, it's a big part of what we do. When our brothers are in trouble, just like Paul said, Paul talked about when a part of the body is in pain, the other part of the body suffers, and we are a brotherhood. And so when Katrina hit, when Andrew hit, and when all the 25 major disasters, whether it was the derecho or the disasters on the Gulf, tornadoes, the hundreds of earthquakes in Puerto Rico, the devastating Dorian superstorm, super hurricane in the Bahamas, Superstorm Sandy on the Northeast. We were there. The fires in California, all of these disasters, we have set up relief committees, and it really is something that is an extension of our ministry, and it's a reflection of the fact that the proverb that says a friend is born in times of distress, and those times of distress, we need to be there for our brothers and sisters, and we try our best to do that.
Thank you so much, Robert, for sharing that. Before I let you go, we always ask this when we have you on: how are Jehovah's Witnesses doing around the world, especially the ones who are being persecuted because of their faith, because of their neutral stand? How are they doing in various parts of the world? How are they holding up?
Well, we hear nothing but strong, powerful stories of faith from places like Russia. But our brothers and sisters are suffering. I mean, there's no way around it when you're convicted of a crime because you want to read your Bible or gather peacefully with your brothers and sisters. When your way of life, what you've dedicated your life to, has been outlawed in a place like Russia, our brothers are suffering. They need our prayers. And many people don't know how oppressed Jehovah's Witnesses are in many countries, whether that's in Asian countries where we don't even make our presence known, or in places like Russia where our presence is well known and the opposition, the official opposition, is well known, or in Eritrea where our brothers have suffered in prison or had suffered in prison, some for 26 years in the most vile prison conditions known to man. Their faith is getting them through. We hear incredible stories of their faith, but it's still a struggle. And that's why we keep them in our prayers. And we hope that things turn around for them. But we know that whatever God allows, they can endure. And we're there to support them in whatever way that we can.
Thank you for that update, Robert. We really, really appreciate it. Anything else before we let you go, my friend? I held you hostage for too long. I know you're just dying to get away from me, but anything else out there you'd like to share with our
Not at
audience?
all. It's always a pleasure to be with you, Paul. And just want to remind folks that if they have any questions about Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't need to wait for a knock on the door or a letter in the mail or call on the phone. They can go to jw.org. Every question that can be answered will be answered by jw.org. Every publication that we've ever published is available on Watchtower Online Library, which is available through jw.org. It addresses the needs of families, of depression, of COVID-19, and it also allows you to go through a virtual Bible study that you can do alone, right in the privacy of your own home. And so we encourage folks to go to jw.org, the most translated uh, internet site that's ever existed and probably will ever exist.
Robert, as always great to chat with you, and looking forward to catching up with you real soon with our updates on how Jehovah's Witnesses are doing and what they're doing for the community. And also, we'll do a recap on the convention once the convention is over. How's that sound?
I look forward to it, Paul. Thank you very much. And thank you, listeners, for listening to our discussion today.
Once again, we thank Robert Hendricks, U.S. spokesperson for the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, for joining us and giving us an update about the regional convention that is virtual this year, powered by faith. And for more information, you can go to jw.org. Well, we thank you again for joining us on our special program of spirituality and safety during the pandemic. Until next time, please stay well and stay safe.